Hey everybody, what's up? NHL Daily Talk here, and I, Kyle, and my co-host Iacob Aaron are here to provide you with another episode. But on that note, Iacob, say what's up to the fam.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another daily episode. So glad to have you guys with us. And yes, as you can see, we are recording on YouTube again. We are recording on both Spotify and YouTube. We have a bunch of notes, so we decided that we want to make it special for you guys. And stay tuned because now our next YouTube video will have something very special. So be prepared. We are currently a work in progress, but we are trying to get it so that you guys can see the notes, the NHL scores, the NHL schedules, and the NHL starting goalies when we do it. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and introduce the first topic because it was one that I recently saw and I decided, but the NHL Player Safety Association or the NHLPA announced today that that Brian Rust of the Pittsburgh Penguins has been suspended for 3 games for his illegal check to the head on Brock Besser in the final moments of the Canucks Penguins game on January 25th, 2026. So obviously, this is a little bit of like late news, but we talked about it yesterday and I figured, we would wait until, his is the news came out about what he's going to be punished, and this is not a slap on the wrist. This is definitely something that the NHL was like, okay, you deserve this suspension because you did something illegal and it was worse than the Nylander and the Stamkos thing. So this is to reflect, to make sure that you don't do it again. So Kyle.
Yeah, no, absolutely, definitely. It's not it's not like the most severe punishment I've ever seen, but it's also definitely like Jakob says, not just a slap on the wrist. And yeah, I mean, it's good to see that on a play where a guy should be punished, that he's getting a proper punishment, $5,000 fine. The NHL needs to do something about those fines because for a majority of the players that doesn't mean anything. But yeah, no, I mean, hopefully for Brock Besser he's okay, and hopefully Brian Rust once he returns from this won't be doing that again and can play some good hockey.
We did also find out that Brock Besser and Zach Bueum have
Zeke
been
Boyum.
placed on, or yeah, have been placed on IR. The Bueum guy got a puck to the face last night and is going to be out a couple weeks, a couple days, maybe weeks. And then Brock Besser, obviously, I believe he's in some sort of like a head injury or a concussion,
Yeah.
so they're keeping him out for a few games at least to monitor the situation. But yeah, all right, moving on to the next topic.
All right, so we have a signing today, and the signing was made by the Colorado Colorado Avalanche, and they have extended Sam Malinsky to a 4-year deal worth 4.75 million. And actually, I'm going to pull up his stat line, but as far as I'm aware, he's a young defender who is, I believe, in his second full season in the NHL, and he's been, kind of like a pleasant surprise for the Colorado Avalanche, and a young guy that obviously, based off of the extension that they just signed him to, that they want to hang on to. And I mean, hey, if he's as good as advertised for the Avalanche based off of the numbers or the deal, I think it makes a lot of sense to go ahead and sign him. And on that note, I am pulling up his stats now since I did find him. And on the season, in the 50 games he's played, he has 3 goals, 21 assists for 24 points, and is a plus 26 on the season. So yeah, I think he's earned that deal, and good for him, and good for the Colorado Avalanche to get an extension done for a young player like that.
Yeah, very good, very good. And with that being said, we'll move on to the next topic, which is a topic that we talked about yesterday, briefly, and we had some thoughts about it. And the Carson Soucy actually ended up getting traded to the Islanders, and me and Kyle, we were both wrong on what he was gonna get. We thought, he was gonna get a fourth. No, they ended up keeping exactly what the Canucks got in return from the Rangers, and they got a third in exchange for Carson Soucy. So yeah, that's good for him. It's good to see that maybe he's not. It's not really a very wise choice considering you're going to a rival team, but yeah, it's very good. It's very good to see that he's trying to play for a team and maybe trying to, I don't know, I wouldn't say salvage his NHL career because he's getting to that point where he's kind of old, but I know it's good. It's good to I like when people get traded, obviously, you want to remain loyal, but like I mentioned, hockey is all about, business. And if business says that you have to leave, then you have to leave. I'm sorry, but yeah, it's good to see that the Rangers are retooling and they're getting some of their draft picks back. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, for the Rangers, definitely, it makes sense to sell on Carson Soucy with the way that their season's gone this year, and trading him to a division rival, I think makes a lot of sense since you're helping them go higher in the standings, and you're sending yourself down the standings. So I think it's a strategic move by them to hopefully get the Islanders into the playoffs and not have them get a high draft pick. And I'm sure they're hoping that Carson Soucy will leave in the offseason. But yeah, overall, I think you got any opinion on the trade, Jakob? What do you think? Like, who do you think's gonna win this deal, or do you think it's
I don't
pretty
know.
even?
I think it's pretty even. I think you just, you have to see how it plays out.
Yeah, I think it's pretty even, and I frankly I think a third for a guy like Carson Soucy is pretty fair value. And by the way, there was no retention on this deal, like I was talking about yesterday. So he's actually at a cap hit of 3.25, which I thought it was 2.75. So good for him to go to the Islanders, and good for the Rangers to get a pick.
Yeah.
All right, we'll move on to the next topic, and that is it's another like trade kind of topic, but it's not in the sense that you would think. It's that I do know that Evander Kane wants out of Vancouver, and it sounds like the team wants that for them, and to give him a chance to go to a contender. And apparently, they have given him his agent permission to help facilitate a trade. So you will see if that will make a difference in regards to maybe making a trade happen faster. But yeah, I'm just like wondering, Jakob, who do you think Evander Kane would end up going to, and who would what team would he be a good fit on?
I don't know. It's kind of hard because Evander Kane has played for so many teams that and he's had some rough patches with a few teams. I think you know I don't think he's gonna go back to San Jose because of his rough patches there. Definitely don't think Edmonton would want him back after everything he went through there. And honestly, I think he's gonna go probably maybe to out east. Maybe you're looking at like a Florida team. Maybe you're looking at I don't know, something like the Pittsburgh, a Philadelphia along those lines. I don't think you're gonna see him out in the West anymore. I think, he's played for the bunch of all of his career. I believe it's just been for the West. So I think he's gonna try out the East and see if, maybe if he has a better a better, career there. But no, I don't think I think he's gonna move to the East. I think he's gonna, try to give it a luck and obviously, yeah, but it's good for him to, maybe get out of Vancouver, while Vancouver's dropping. You don't want you really if you're a player, you don't want to play for a team that's dropping as much as they are, especially this late in your career. You're about to retire, and or if you probably have a couple more seasons, and you want to make sure that you're not playing for a team that is dropping in rankings as they are, because Vancouver is arguably the worst team right now, and I guess they're really going on a rebuild mode, and they're really going to try to sell all of their players, as Kyle mentioned. And if that's the way you got to do a rebuild, that's the way you have to do a rebuild. You have to get rid. And it's good to see that Vander Kane is getting out of there while he still can. So
Yeah, well, I have seen in trade rumors. Apparently, the speculations are saying that Colorado and Dallas have both made calls on Kane, and ultimately, we will see what happens regarding that. And oh, I don't know if I lost.
those are both team.
Oh, sorry, Jakob. You're lagging on my end, so I don't know. I was thinking I might have lost you for a second.
Oh no, you're definitely they're two teams in the West. So
Yeah.
maybe he just likes the West so much that he's just gonna sit in the West. So
Oh, by the way, Jakob, you are wrong. He has played for two Eastern Conference teams in his career, and
really, what were they?
the Eastern Conference teams that he has played for were the team that he was drafted by in the Atlanta Thrashers, and he also
Oh,
played for the Buffalo Sabres before he went
oh
to the
yeah,
Sharks.
I do
So
remember that.
so
Yeah,
he has been in the East before. So we'll see. But I think my pick right now would probably be Dallas, as maybe they look at a Mason Marchment comparable and another guy that they gave up, and can fill a void on their second or third line. But anywho, I think unless Jacob you have something else to add about that, I think we can move on to the next topic.
No, I'm ready to move on to the next topic. And unfortunately for Leo Carlson and Jonas Brodin, yeah, your injuries are too severe that you are going to miss the playoffs. I mean, the Olympics, excuse me. And we found the replacements for their replacement. I know Kyle's over here laughing at me. Excuse me, he's on this side. I know he's laughing over me over there because I accidentally said playoffs, but like last week I said the World Cup. So the Olympics is slipping my brain, but no, I like the Olympics and I don't know why he's doing that. But the two replacements for both Leo Carlson and Jonas Brodin are Marcus Johansson and Hampus Lindholm. And those players have been pretty good for for their respected clubs, and I know they're going to do a great job when it comes to Team Sweden. And unfortunately for Leo Carlson and Brodin, who can't, wish they could have represented their countries at the Olympics, but at the end of the day, hockey, you get hurt in hockey and you just have to deal with it. Unfortunately, they're both young too. Well, maybe not Jonas Brodin, not as
Brodin's a
much, but
little older.
Leo Carlson's young and he's still at. If the NHL were to bring it back and maybe if the NHL likes what they see out of this Olympics and they want to bring it back in 4 years, and yeah, Leo Carlson will probably be that guy that will step up and play for Team Sweden again. Unfortunately for Brodin, I don't know how much longer you have, and if you can make it to 4 years, congrats to you. But yeah, your time is coming up short. I'm sorry, bud.
Yeah, and a guy like Marcus Johansson, he's 35 this year, so likely for him this is the last opportunity that he's going to get. And for him being a replacement and getting the opportunity to compete for his country is huge. And also Hampus Lindholm, who's another good defender from the Boston Bruins. Congrats to the two guys who were named to the team, as it's definitely a big deal, Jakob, as I'm sure you can agree with that one. But
Oh,
yeah,
for sure,
no,
I definitely can.
but yeah, no, unfortunate for the two guys that are missing, and hopefully they'll be able to be back come playoff time because assuming the playoffs were to start today, both those teams would be in, by the way. So we will see, but yeah, no, we just wanted to report on who the replacements were since it was announced. Anyways, I
Hmm.
will move on to the next topic, and Alexander Barkov was spotted at morning practice for the Panthers, and I guess he was out there skating with the other Panther players who have been out long term, and honestly, he was moving pretty good. And I think for Panthers fans, that's a very good sign that Barkov's return will definitely be by playoff time. And I mean, for the Panthers, that'll be huge, and hopefully they can get in for their sake. But we will see. But and I know me and Jakob, deep down, we both hope Florida misses.
Yeah, for sure. No, 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 for sure, for sure.
But yeah, no, Barkov, obviously, like once again, you never want to see anyone get hurt, and he tore his ACL a few months back, literally at practice, and hopefully for him, he'll be okay, and hopefully can help Florida down the stretch and push them into a playoff spot.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to our next topic, unless Kyle has something else to add about this one.
Oh,
It is that Thatcher Demko, unfortunately for Vancouver fans, your luck with your goalie is worse than we thought. Thatcher Demko is going to miss the remainder of the season because he just had surgery today on a hip injury that he got, and it is looking like his recovery will be till after the season. So yeah, I'm sorry, Vancouver fans. Actually, I'm not sorry because you guys are going on a rebuild. And honestly, what does this mean for Thatcher Demko in his career? What does Vancouver look at this and say, what are we going to do down the stretch now that, maybe Thatcher Demko can't stay healthy, you know?
well, I think arguably, like in the sense of them tanking and having themselves a lesser end of the year, I think that it's arguably beneficial that he's out. And when Thatcher Demko's in the lineup, I think there's an argument you can make that he is, in the upper tier of goaltenders in the NHL. And he is talented. We know that. And we have seen Thatcher Demko destroy the Oilers at times too. And no, he's a very good goalie, and ultimately him being out will hurt the Canucks, but like I said, maybe that's a blessing in disguise since they are on the tank for Gavin McKenna. So I mean, hopefully, for him, he'll be healthy and ready to go next year. And it's unfortunate you never want to see that, but yeah, no. Also, this does give Kevin Lankinen the opportunity to regain the reins of the crease, and hopefully for a guy like Nikita Talipolo, or potentially knowing that Demko's out for the year, I will float this name into the speculation as maybe the Canucks decide to acquire Calvin Pickard from the Oilers.
That is true, yeah.
But that is still to be seen. And obviously, if that does actually happen, we will report on that for sure. But I'm sure that the Canucks will definitely. I mean, they're on a rough stretch. They've only won one of their last 13 games or so. That's just a rough estimate since I don't even know the number anymore. But yeah, best of luck to Thatcher Demko, and hopefully you can get healthy.
Yeah.
All right, on to our next topic. David Pastrnak is the third Czech-born NHL player to score 900 points, and congrats to him as, you know, scoring your first point, never mind your 900th in the league, is no easy feat. And I mean, congrats to him. And by the way, the other two players who have also scored that amount are obviously, the guy who played in the league for one of the longest stints of all time, Jaromir Jagr, and Patrick Elias, who was an all-time New Jersey Devil. So, I mean, definitely that's like two players that you want to be in a conversation with when you're being talked about at the end of your career. And for Pastrnak, he's been very good for the Boston Bruins.
Yeah, no, he has been, and it's good to see, and congrats to him. And hopefully, you can make it before you retire to 1,000 mark, and you could be celebrated there.
Well, frankly, I don't think Pastrnak will have too many issues hitting 1,000. As correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he's not even 30 yet. So I don't think
I
like
will
unless
I will actually double check. I'll double check that for you, and we will have a response here very shortly. But
yeah,
yeah, no, it's good.
barring any severe injury, he should reach that mark. I
Yeah,
apologize for cutting you off.
he's currently 29 years old at the moment. So yeah, he definitely has a few more years in him, and he's definitely gonna reach that 1,000 point mark.
Well, we'll be talking about him again when he does. And yeah, congrats to him. And great to see for Czechia and Olympic. I, gosh, what is the word? He's.
Olympic
I'll,
bound.
I don't know what I'm trying to say, but he is on that Czech Olympic team. So be watching as he will be a big part of that team.
All right, moving on to I was actually very skeptical about adding this topic because I know that, I don't really like talking about politics when it comes to NHL or sports in general, but obviously, if it's a big concern concerning some NHL players and not just NHL players, but also the PWHL, which is the women's league, I kind of wanted to include it. And I was just sitting in my computer application business class and I was like, I don't know, maybe I should add this, maybe. And so I did a deeper dive. And what's going on is obviously, with ICE in USA, which is ICE is known for the Immigration and Customs Enforcement. They're taking it a bit, I guess, a bit too far when it comes to, like they're just at this point they've killed a few civilians that have been protesting against them, and obviously, the news hurts a lot of NHL players because some NHL players who live in the city is Minnesota, and this is for the player's safety and the family of the player. You have wife and kids at home, and you have young kids, and you're worried that one day your one of your kids or maybe your wife gets shot accidentally, because they want to protest. But this is the player that I'm talking about is uh Marcus Foligno, and it's not just Marcus Foligno. It's also some of the players in the PWHL. And Marcus Foligno had a recent interview, and he said that he doesn't like the politics, he doesn't like talking about it. But when you've seen it on the news, and you've seen it that it affects his, because he's technically made Minnesota his home. That's what according to him, and I quote that he made his Minnesota his home. He had his family there. That's where he had his kids at. So, he wants to protect his kids, and if maybe if saying something attracts the attention of government or whatever, then say it. But it's definitely. I would if I was in Marcus Foligno's position, where I have to think about hockey over my over. I mean, I have to think about my family over hockey. I will do it. And yeah, it's good to see that he's not afraid to express himself when it comes to his family. And yeah, it's definitely a lot of bad things are going on in Minnesota. To everyone's just it's just chaotic over there. So I'm glad that one of these veterans are stepping up and they're saying something, and they're trying to advocate for a change in Minnesota.
Yeah, I have nothing to add, Jakob. So if you're ready to move on, we can get on to the scores of from yesterday, and we do have one topic regarding one of the games, but that we will talk about when that game is ready to be spoken about. So, Jakob, are you? Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
Depending on, okay, so I'm gonna go first because I know you have a little bit in. According to how the NHL plays, I get this game, you get this game, I get this game, and then you will be able to get the last game, which is the one that you have the most points on, and you have the more topics than I do. So I'm gonna let you take that game. So I'm gonna take this first game, which was the Utah Mammoth against the Tampa Bay Lightning, and the Tampa Bay Lightning outshot, outscored, and shut out the Utah Mammoth. Good performance by, the shot total was close. It was 29-28. Goal scores real quick. Darren Radish opened the scoring on a power play, which Dennis Radish has been on fire. So be on the lookout for that. And that was on the power play. And then Anthony Cirelli in the third period with 46 seconds left in the period scored to make it 2-0 on the power play. And some quick performance reviews. Obviously, nobody for the Utah Mammoth, but Karol Vejmelka, he stood his ground. He could have had way more, and he had a 931 save percentage, 2 goals allowed on 29 shots. And for the other hand, the Lightning, we saw a point by Gensel, a point by Cirelli, 2 points by Kucherov, and a point by Dennis Radish and Moser. And obviously, Vasilevsky had himself a 28 save shutout. And the 3 stars of the game, real quick. Obviously, Andre Vasilevsky. Whenever a goalie gets a shutout, you basically get that first star. Aaron Radish had himself the second star, and Karol Vejmelka, although allowing 2 goals and having a 931 save percentage, he got the third star and he deserves it. Both goalies played fantastic today, and yeah, I have nothing else to add because I just want to say that this game was a lot tighter, and we talked a lot about both teams, and Utah Mammoth have been hot, Tampa Bay have been hot, so yeah, it's good to see that it wasn't just a blowout; it was a dogfight, and obviously the better team won this game.
Yeah, no, I can't disagree with that one. And yeah, good game for the Lightning and Vasilevsky. Congrats on the shutout. And yeah, you can't blame the goalie for the Utah Mammoth if you don't score a goal. And I mean, for Utah, it's definitely an unfortunate game, and you don't want to lose it. But I mean, in a game where Vasilevsky's playing that well, it's hard to argue. And yeah, Darren Radish scored, as Jakob said, and so did Anthony Cirelli. So yeah, congrats to the Lightning, and yeah, go keep playing.
Mhm.
All right. You have anything else to add, or should I move on to the next game?
Nope, I've said everything I needed to say about this game. You can move on.
All right. So the second game on the schedule for yesterday, out of four, by the way, four. There we go.
Not three, Kyle. Four.
Jakob, I know. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bro, hit me with the. But anyways, so in this game we had the Bruins visiting the New York Rangers, and the final score in this one was 4-3 for the Rangers in OT. And to be honest, this is a surprising result. I would have expected the Bruins to win this one, but good on the Bruins. Or did I just say that completely backwards, Jakob?
I think you did, yeah. Is it good? You said good thing for the Bruins or something. I was like,
I
what?
I I said I expect the Rangers to win. That's what came out of my mouth. Anyways, okay,
Oh.
I'm gonna restart that because obviously that didn't come out the way that I wanted it to. Frankly, this is a game that I would expect the Boston Bruins to win, and obviously I will rewatch this to make sure that I did say it backwards the first time, but we will see. But yeah, I'll go over your goal scorers real quick. So the Rangers opened the scoring 10 minutes into the game with a Will Cooley goal, and then just a couple minutes later, the Bruins respond. Elias Lindholm, to tie the game up at one. By the way, Pastrnak did get an assist on that goal, and I don't believe that was not his last of the night. So stay tuned for that. But then JT Miller, literally 30 seconds after Lindholm ties the game, pulls the Rangers back ahead, and then the Bruins don't score until the second period, or I guess frankly there's no more goals until the second period, where Lindholm buries his second of the night, where Pastrnak gets another assist, and then Morgan Geekie at the halfway point pretty much makes it 3-2 for the Bruins. And in the third period, Will Borgen, with just over 6 minutes left in the third period, ties the game for the Rangers. And Matthew Robertson, their defenseman, gets an assist from Jonathan Quick and buries the overtime winner. And frankly, I should have watched the overtime goal because that probably would have been a good thing to be able to comment on. But good for the Rangers to get a win. And I mean, they've had a rough season, so it's good for them to get 2 points in a game where, they work hard and definitely they earned themselves this win as they did outshoot the Bruins 28-24. And Jonathan Quick didn't have himself a bad night, and he did cap it all off with an assist after all. But yeah, I'll go over your 3 stars of the night. So your 3 stars of the night on this game were first star Matthew Robertson, who scored the OT winner. Gabe Perreault was your second star of the night, who had a single assist, but apparently had a good enough game to earn that. And David Pastrnak, the third star of the night, with his 3 assists. And congrats to the Bruins. And oh my gosh, the Bruins, bro. I can, gosh, Rangers fans are gonna hate me, bro.
I
But
know, bro. That's the problem.
oh man. But yeah, no. I mean, I'm just looking, to see if there's anything else that's notable. But yeah, no, the Rangers certainly earned themselves this win. And Jakob, I'll let you move on to the next game.
All right, so this next game was one that I'm sorry to make this fantasy reference again, but Kyle needed this player badly, badly. Kyle is currently in a very dogfight of a fantasy again. Oh, so currently, as things stand, I did see the playoff odds have changed. So I will tell you that. So Kyle record is 7-9 because he had one bad stretch because he wasn't paying attention that one stretch and he started going on a losing streak and he picked it up. And he is fighting against my friend Will Porter, who is a Columbus Blue Jackets fan. So shout out to him and the Columbus Blue Jackets.
Love them.
And they're both 7-9. And they need this one badly. Both teams want to make the playoffs. And as how things stand right now, I don't want to brag, but me and my brother David both have a playoff spot guaranteed. And Lucy is guaranteed as well. And that last fight is either between Kyle or Will. And currently, the playoff percentages, as when I last checked, is Kyle now has a 48% chance to win, make the playoffs, and so does Will. So the chances are tied, probably because of last night's performance by the man I'm going to talk about soon, which would be over here on my iPad. Yeah, very good performance. But with that being said, the Islanders won 4-0. And the goalie that everyone I'm talking about is Ilya Sorokin. And he got Kyle 14 fan points last night, which is one that Kyle needed desperately. I guess today I just love talking about all the games with shutouts in it. So whatever, it is what it is. I'll keep moving on. I mean, hey, a shutout is a shutout. You know how hard it is to get a shutout in the NHL? You have to be on your A game, and I guess the Islanders were, and the Flyers, unfortunately, were not. Even though the shot total was only 23-21, so you really expect this game to go, more balanced. But I'll say this goal scores real quick. So Jean-Gabriel Pageau on a shorthanded goal made it 1-0 for the Islanders in the first period. Then in the second period, Matthew Barzal made it 2-0, and then a power play goal by Tony DeAngelo made it 3-0, and then Jean-Gabriel Pageau on assist by Tiplikov made it 4-0 for the Islanders, and that was the rest of the game. And unfortunately for the Islanders, for the Islanders, you have one more game to play against Philadelphia, but you are losing the season series right now 2-1 to Philadelphia. And real quick, I'm going to go over some key performances. Obviously, none for the Flyers, but Tiplikov had himself a point. Red Hot Duclair had himself 2 points. Barzal had himself 2 points. Anders Lee had himself a point. Pajot, like I mentioned, had himself 2 points. Cizikas had himself a point. Elek, Ivan George, who got his first assist of this season. I don't know if it was his career, but of this season had a point. And then Tony DeAngelo, like I mentioned, had a point. And Ilya Sorokin had 21 for 21 and a 0.0 goals against average and a 1.0 save percentage. And for the other hand, Samuel Ersson was the goalie, and he didn't have a great night. He had 4 goals on 23 shots for an 826 save percentage, but obviously I'm not surprised because I guess, as you know, we've mentioned previously in this podcast, Cam Morrison has not been the best of the best for goalies, and yeah, he's been kind of on the downside, on like the basement side. So yeah, I'm not really surprised. But yeah, other than that, very good performance by the Islanders, and Kyle needed this one badly, and he got it. So
Yes, thank you, Ilya Sorokin. Currently,
I mean,
you are the
I,
reason.
wait. Let me double check real quick because I know you do have one more. Unfortunately, Matt Schaefer didn't do you any good. But hey, when Elias Sorokin gets a shutout, that's more points than anyone can ask. And if I were you, if I was a fantasy owner who had a shutout from a goalie, I'm taking it. I'm running with it. And I'm gonna keep pushing.
Absolutely. All right, Jakob, you ready for me to move on to the final game of the day?
No, this time, I will not be interrupting Kyle. Kyle will say all his things, and then I will say after. I will. Well, Kyle will not interrupt me because he's gonna be talking about it because we talked about it briefly in the car because, like we mentioned last time, we have to coordinate what is what, and I'm just gonna let Kyle do all the talking, and I'm just gonna say something because he knows more about it than me, and he said he had more topics than me. So yeah, go ahead and take off this last game for our team, which we did predict for, but we will tell you that later.
All right, well, first of all, I'm going to start off with the score of the game, and it was obviously the Anaheim Ducks visiting the Edmonton Oilers, and the final score was 7-4 for the Oilers, and this game was absolute chaos. There were, like I said, for the Capitals game the other day, there was moments where I was, up screaming my ass off, and then moments where I was like, wanting to just like bury myself into a hole. And there was a pretty iconic moment and a record, which I will get to at the end. But the Oilers have broken another record, believe it or not, as we do. So, Mikael Gramland opened the scoring on the power play just 3 minutes into the game. And by the way, that's not his last of the game. Then, near the end of the first, Zach Hyman scores to make it 1-1 on the power play as well. And for that period, that was where it stood. And honestly, through the first 10 minutes of the game, the Anaheim Ducks absolutely steamrolled us, and we really did not stand a chance through that first bit of the game. So the fact that we survived and made it out of that period 1-1 was honestly an accomplishment in its own. But then going into the second period, Alex Killorn scores 55 seconds in the period to give the Ducks a 2-1 lead. And that's where it would stand until 3 minutes or 4 minutes later, where the Oilers said, okay, screw this. We're changing the tide of this game. And by the way, the Oilers scored 4 goals in 3 minutes and 49 seconds, and all 4 goals were scored by defensemen, which, by the way, is only the sixth time in NHL history that 4 goals have been scored by defensemen in a period, and this was the fastest sequence of 4 goals by defensemen in NHL history. I don't know if you knew that, did you, Jakob?
I did not. Thank you for pointing that out.
Don't you worry, Jakob. I do a lot of digging, by the way. Jakob knows this. I find stuff that he doesn't even know how I find. But
Got he got
anyways,
he got he got his own connections to people. Bump bump bump.
wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah, yeah.
Just there we go, just nudging him. But yeah, so the first goal by the Oilers defenseman was Spencer Stastny, who records his first goal and first point as an Edmonton Oilers. So congrats to him. And it was kind of a weird one where it deflected in off of their own player in what was his face? Olin
Zellweger.
Zellweger.
Yeah.
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 And Ville Husso, for some reason on this goal, absolutely lost his temper and actually ended up costing the Anaheim Ducks their timeout because I'm not sure if he thought he got interfered with or what, but whatever it was, he spent so long complaining that the Ducks were forced to use their timeout because he didn't, calm himself down. And
Yeah, that coach
my,
was heated. That coach on Anaheim was heated. He was like, I never called the time. I was like, yeah, but your goalie did. And I don't know what he was complaining because they're saying that Podkolzin interfered with him, but he didn't. He clearly
yeah,
didn't. And I don't know. So
Yeah, and frankly, even if Podkolzin did touch him, Podkolzin was standing completely out of the crease. So, regardless, if the goalie touched him, that's on the goalie. And, anyways, we'll move on to the next one. Which this goal actually it took a little bit to get the second goal, but the floodgates opened after this one. And yeah, just 2 minutes after Spencer Stastny scored, Ekholm got his first of the night to make it 3-2 for the Oilers on a really nice passing play where he kind of did a backhand dish over like behind the back and swept the puck over to someone else. I don't know if you could tell what I was trying to do there, but I was trying to
I get that.
imitate. I was trying to imitate Matthias Ekholm, and then the bald man himself that Iacob predicted was going to get a point. Darnell Nurse did record himself a point, and Iacob, you should have predicted a goal because that's what he got last night.
I
But
know, bro.
hey,
I know.
it is what it is. And then Ekholm records his second of the night, just a minute after that, to make
That
it
was a
5
beautiful
2
snipe,
for
by
the
the way.
Oilers. Yeah, he sniped it top corner. But actually, speaking of snipes, I didn't even mention how Mikael Gramlin scored his first one of the night. But did you see the goal that Gramlin scored, the first one?
Oh
That was a
yeah.
snipe too, right into the top left corner. It was, even though I don't love to see goals scored on my team, that was a nice goal. I can't even lie. But speaking of
Hmm.
Mikael Gramlin, which is why I actually mentioned this because Jakob brought that up, Mikael Gramlin records his second of the night, also on the power play. Just 5 minutes after the Oilers made it 5-3 or 5-2, he makes it 5-3 for his second of the night, and then into the third period, where honestly it was a pretty eventful period, and the Anaheim Ducks definitely owned us for majority of that period, especially the first 10 minutes of that period. Like they were outplaying us by far, and I don't think there's much of a discussion to have there. I think Jakob can agree. But yeah,
Hmm.
on the power play again, Mikael Gramlin records the hat trick in Edmonton, and he had an excellent game. And by the way, Beckett Seneca assisted on his second and third goal of the night, and both of those passes that he made were excellent. And Jakob, I don't know if you knew this, but Beckett Seneca for the Anaheim Ducks last night played 25 minutes on the night.
Wow.
And he is a 19-year-old kid who honestly looks like he has a really bright future ahead of him. So good for him. And yeah, it's always good to see the kids score and put up points and whatnot. And he did have a hat trick the other night against the Flames as well, which don't forget
Hmm.
that. Watch for that guy. He's going to be good in the future. But yeah, so into the dying minutes of the game, the Anaheim Ducks pull their goaltender, and the Oilers clear the puck out of their zone with the empty net, and Connor McDavid, doing Connor McDavid things, skates out towards the neutral zone and picks off the puck, and of course he's in alone because McDavid's got speed like no one else in this league, and the Anaheim Ducks decide to try again, and this time it's Ekholm who records his third of the night for a hat trick, which, by the way, is his first career hat trick in what is his like. He's played a lot of years in this league, but he's 35 now, so congrats to him. And no, it was a crazy game to watch, and yeah, the last 10 seconds after that really meant nothing. But yeah, actually, I know I had a friend who was at the game last night, and Jakob would know who this is. It was Scott. And yeah, he was there, and he said that it was absolutely electric. So, and honestly, even watching it from the television, I could feel the energy behind everything, bro.
No,
And
definitely,
yeah,
definitely.
definitely like a few key performances I'd like to point out. Like obviously, Ekholm and Granlund's hat tricks. Then Hyman was your third star with a goal and an assist, which he had himself a good night too. Draisaitl had 4 assists on the night, by the way. I don't know if you knew that, Jakob.
I did. I saw that on fantasy, which is kind of also another key performance as to why you're doing good is you have Drysdale on your fantasy team, and he did good for you last night. So
That's true. And I had Jari too, who, mind you, didn't have the greatest save percentage, but he did record the win, which does actually add up to more points. And he still had a 902, which, I mean, I think you could argue that ignoring the second period, this is a game that the Anaheim Ducks very easily could have won. And obviously, I already spoke about Gramland and I spoke about Seneca, but I would also like to talk about Jackson Lacombe. And he robbed a guy who I was talking about yesterday making his NHL debut of his first goal. And actually, I'll key you in now. I'll let you talk about whatever you want to talk about. But what did you think about Jackson Lacombe robbing Josh Szymanski of his first?
I thought it was a good save though, and it
It
was clear
was.
it was clear the reason why Jackson Lacombe got picked over the other players to replace Seth Jones at the Olympics because as of late, I don't know if you realize, but as of late, he's been playing phenomenal and he deserves it. And unfortunately, yeah, Josh Szymanski, had his interview and he's like, "Man, I wish I could take that, but it is what it is. We got the win." And on that note, I also want to talk about that topic that we had regarding this game,
Oh,
and that the
yes.
Oilers become the first team in NHL to get hat tricks from defensemen in consecutive games. So back-to-back games,
Hmm.
the Oilers defenseman get a hat, and it's from the defenseman, it's not even from the forward. So it's good to see that the defensemen are contributing to the play. And yeah, other than that, I have nothing else. Very proud of the performance by the team. And yeah, I went 2 for 2 on my picks. Kyle went 1 for 2, but still a very good night when your team wins, and very happy thoughts.
Yeah, no, I'm very happy. And one thing I would like to point out is that obviously because of Mikael Gramlin scoring 3 on the power play, the Oilers' PK last night was 25%. So going, into later into the season, the Oilers have definitely got to clean that up a little bit and not allow so many grade A chances on the power play. But yeah, no,
Still, their
let's
their power plays are still good though.
or well, the power play is good, but we got to clean up the PK.
Yeah, the PK will definitely need some work on, but power play has been very solid, as has been for the last few years in Edmonton history. So
Which our power play is top of the league, by the way. Which I don't think it will come as a surprise to you, but we're at 31.8% on the power play on the season.
yeah, that, to be honest, I'm not surprised when you have the two best players on the team.
All right, well, do you have anything else to add to this game, or is that everything we got to say?
I think that's everything I have to say. Let's move on to the NHL schedules, and like always, you will say the game, I will say the NHL goalies.
All right, well, none of the games have started yet today, as of when we were recording this, so we have a clean slate to make predictions on, Jakob. So this will be fun, and we can make some
I'm
pretty
ready.
good picks. So the first game on the schedule for today is the Nashville Predators, who are visiting the Boston Bruins, and that game will be at 5 p.m. Mountain Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time.
And that's going to be likely going to be Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, excuse me, against a confirmed Joseph Wall.
All right, the next game is the wait, what? I said the Predators and the Bruins.
Oh, my bad. Oh, you said the Predators. Okay, so that is all right, guys. My NHL Daily Faceoff has it wrong. Okay, so for the Bruins and Predators, it's going to be both goalies are unconfirmed, but it's going to be UC Soros against Jeremy Swayman. Sorry, guys. I'm sleeping today.
I heard you say Joseph Wall, and I'm like, what? Because I'm
Yeah,
like,
they
did he get traded to the Boston Bruins?
Oh, look, so I don't know if you guys can see, but on Daily Faceoff, it has the Sabres game first. So I thought, it was going based on this. So when I looked down, I was like, uh-oh, there's the Boston. I was like, oh, so. But yeah, moving on to the next game, and obviously, we've already said it, but it's going to be the Buffalo Sabres at Toronto, and that's going to be Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen against Joseph Woll, the correct one this time, and that's also at the same time as the Boston Bruins Nashville game.
All right, this game is also at 5 p.m. Mountain Time and 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and we still have a few more games this time, so I will not announce the time again until we are done with this time frame. But this one is the Vegas Golden Knights visiting the Montreal Canadiens.
That's going to be unconfirmed for Vegas, but it's looking like it's going to be a Dean Hill against Jakob Dobesh for the Montreal Canadiens.
In the next game, we have the LA Kings visiting the Red Hot Red Wings.
That is going to be what is likely going to be Anton Forsberg against a confirmed John Gibson.
All right, in the next matchup, we have the Utah Mammoth visiting the Florida Panthers.
It's looking like it's unconfirmed, but it's probably going to be Vitek Vanacek because Karol Veshmelka did play last night against the other team that Utah played last night. And that's going to be the Florida Panthers, and that's going to be Sergei Brabovsky.
All right, and in the last game for the 5 o'clock Mountain Time, 7 p.m. Eastern time block, we have the Winnipeg Jets visiting the New Jersey Devils.
That's going to be likely going to be Connor Hellebuck against a confirmed Jake Allen.
All right, and we have two games that are at 6 o'clock Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And the first one on the schedule is the Dallas Stars visiting the St. Louis Blues.
And that is going to be Jake Ottinger for the Dallas Stars against Jordan Binnington for the St. Louis Blues.
Then the second game at this time frame is the Chicago Blackhawks visiting the Minnesota Wild.
That is going to be Spencer Knight for the Blackhawks against Jesper Wallstedt for the Minnesota Wild.
All right. Now, for our last two games on the schedule for today, which both start at 8 p.m. Mountain Time, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, we have the San Jose Sharks visiting the Vancouver Canucks.
That's going to be Yaroslav Askarov against Kevin Lankinen, who we mentioned previously with Thatcher Demko being out.
And for the last game of the day, we have the Washington Capitals visiting the Seattle Kraken.
That's going to be unconfirmed Logan Thompson against what is likely to be Philip Grubauer. So that is your NHL menu for the day. Go ahead and make your picks now if you'd like to for obviously the other games. But obviously now me and Kyle are going to say our picks of the day. And I believe Kyle went first yesterday. So I'm going to go ahead and go first today. And just like I promised, I will take a goal scorer today because I made a promise with Kyle yesterday's episode when you go take a listen that I was going to take a goal scorer today. So for my goal scorer today, I'm going to take a Steven Stamkos goal.
Okay, I
And
like it.
when it comes to my pick of the day, I'm actually going to take the St. Louis Blues to beat the Dallas Stars.
Oh, I like those picks, to be honest. They're really nice, bro.
All right, your turn. Let's see what you got.
All right, well, Jakob, I'm going to pick a team that I don't think we've made a prediction on yet. I don't, or at least we definitely haven't predicted for them yet. I'm going to predict the New Jersey Devils to beat the Winnipeg Jets.
Okay, okay.
And for my player pick, I'm going to pick a Tage Thompson goal.
Okay, that's actually someone I was thinking about picking first, but I saw Steven Stamkos. I was like, okay, maybe I might go with Steven Stamkos. So with that being said, there you have it, folks. Kyle went with the Devils to beat the Jets and a Tage Thompson goal, and I went with the Blues to beat the Stars and a Stamkos goal. So with that being said, Kyle, if there's nothing else to add, let's wrap it up.
Well, since it's YouTube, I think we should, give a comment of the day or whatever. Like, add like, just a little conversation at the end of the episode, just for some extra interaction.
Let's do it.
So,
What are you thinking about today?
hmm. Well, one thing that I want to say that's kind of funny is like, I don't know what's up with my phone, but like the ringer, I'll like turn it off, and then when I turn it back on, it'll like automatically flip it down just far enough that my ringer turns itself back off. So
Oh,
so I asked my mom, I'm like, cause she's got longer fingernails than I do. So I've been asking her every time I need to turn my ringer on, hey mom, can you come and just pull it? Cause she can dig her fingernail in there, and then she can turn it on, and I don't know, she's like magical, bro. It's kind of funny.
yeah, that sounds cool. Sometimes I do that too. Sometimes, like if I don't have the fingernails, I'll just ask my mom, and she'll be like, "Yeah, I got you. I'll do that for you." Yeah, but it's definitely something, and yeah, it was. This is one of the episodes where me and Kyle just left to chat, and yeah, it's I obviously just came back from school. I was at school yesterday, so the episode I believe yesterday or the day before was at school, but. Yeah, and then today I was like, we were talking about it because I was in my computer business class, and I already had finished all the work, and I was texting Kyle. I was like, "Oh, what?" And Kyle was like, "What if we do today a YouTube video since we have so many news to talk about?" It's like, why not? We're probably gonna start doing a lot more YouTube videos. Now that we're getting comfortable with showing our faces to the world. So we're gonna be doing a lot more. Obviously, I'm getting a haircut tomorrow. I mean, yeah, on Thursday, bro. So everything's gonna be shaved. So next time you're gonna see me, it's probably gonna be fully shaved off, and we're gonna have a better haircut and everything. But yeah, sorry for the messy look right now. I'm kind of working on something. But yeah, no, definitely as of Thursday, all this will be gone and all that will be gone. Now, so one day I'll look exactly like Kyle. I want to look like Kyle. I want to have that nice mustache and a nice haircut, bro. I like it. It suits Kyle very well.
Here, I'm gonna take the headset off real quick. I'm gonna do a quick spin for the camera, so we'll see what everyone can see.
Uh yeah, I don't think much of the people got the backhand of it because your chair caught the video, but you guys saw the basics of it, yeah. And then mine, I'm not gonna spin, but mine's bad. So yeah, I'm definitely getting one soon. And yeah, obviously, Now, Kyle, what are your weekend trips, bro?
My weekend trips? What do you mean my weekend trips?
Yeah, I mean your weekend plans. What do you have going on?
My weekend? Oh,
Yeah, bro.
to be honest, not a whole lot because the weekend's my rest days for the gym, so that's my time to chill and just do whatever I want.
Yeah, we are gonna be bringing you guys episodes though for the weekend too. We're gonna do it no matter where we are. no matter what. And yeah, we will be giving you guys episodes every single day, no matter what we're doing, no matter if one of us is busy. If one of us is busy, the other one will do it alone. And on that note, I do have to remind you guys that obviously I'm gonna do it now, but I'm also gonna remind you guys closer today. But from May 30th to June 7th, I'm going on a cruise. And that week, Kyle's going to be doing the episodes alone. So you guys are going to be hearing all about it. And yeah, I'm excited to see what Kyle has. I know he's very sad because he wishes he could do it with me. But yeah, unfortunately, I'm not going to have any Wi Fi service or anything. So yeah, Kyle's going to be doing it. So you guys be ready to listen to Kyle's voice for an entire week because he'll give you the extra and he won't rudely interrupt me. He'll just be able to say everything.
Yeah, no, definitely. I just hope people don't get tired of me during that week, and they're not gonna want to hear my voice ever again after that week. And Jakob, frankly, there will be a day that you're gonna have to record the episode alone as well.
Oh
That
yeah,
will
when's
be
that?
that will be in July because I'll be doing my ultra marathon that I was telling you about, where I'm gonna run my
Yeah,
100
yeah.
miles.
I still don't understand how you're gonna be able to do that, bro.
At this point, I don't know either, but you know what? I want to test my limits and see what I'm capable of, and you
Yeah,
guys should
so
too.
yeah, obviously, there'll be some days where me and Kyle will have to record the episode alone, and that's okay with us. But we will try our best to, never miss a day. And worst to worst, we miss a day, we'll give you guys the same day the next day. So yeah. Other than that, do we have anything else we wanna say to the fam, to the YouTube channel to talk, or have we pretty much said everything and we're ready to go?
I don't know. Just leave a comment down below and what do I want the people to leave? If you guys stuck around to this part, I want you guys to comment the word yes.
Okay, there you have it, folks. If you made it all the way to the end, comment the yes. And please, if you guys ever want to, you ever want, to write some comments down that we can talk about on these YouTube videos when we're done with all of our NHL podcasts, we just want to talk, interact with everybody. Please leave your comment in the video description down below. We would really love to, grab someone's comment one day at a time, and when we do these YouTube videos, and save them, and like, talk about it because it's very hard to come up with some questions that but if you guys have some questions that you want to answer, that you want us to answer, please feel free to do so. And that being said, let's go ahead and do the outro. Thank you everyone who listened today, who watched the video, and like you mentioned, if you stuck around to this part, comment the word yes so we know you're a true follower. But other than that, thank you to both of us, for being here. And yeah, well, obviously we're gonna keep going because this is motivation, and I love Kyle, bro. But yeah, this is motivation to keep going these YouTube videos, and these fans have been. And yeah, with that being said, Iacob is signing
And Jakob cuts off
out.
on
Just
me as
signing
soon
out.
as.
IKNHL Daily Talk will come back. Of course he does, but that's okay because at least I still have the Spotify. So at least if the YouTube video is not so good, the Spotify's good. But
Nah, bro,
yeah, we'll
you
see
like
you
you
all.
just started lagging, bro. So like they missed the entire outro on YouTube. That's so.
Guys. Okay, so thank you to everyone who listened, and we will see you all tomorrow for a brand new episode of IK NHL Daily Talk. Peace out.
Peace out, guys. Thanks for listening.